evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. My name is Sally Abdallah, and I'm also a civil rights attorney. And I do not envy you today, because today you have a very high responsibility, as usual. For today, you are the guardians of, essentially, our Constitution. You have the responsibility of protecting the First Amendment rights of everyone in this room, which is very difficult to balance. And I know it is a difficult job, but I know you're up to the task. You have the right, or you have the obligation to hear from both the opposition, as we have heard from today, and from the support for this Darul Arqam Learning Center. Today, as a civil rights attorney, I wish to make 3 brief points, and for an attorney, that's pretty short. So thank you for your patience already. The first point I wish to make is that this great country was actually founded on the concept of freedom of religion. We're taught a beautiful story when we're in elementary school about the pilgrims who actually first landed at Plymouth Rock and how they started this country. We forget that story as we grow older because we're too young to comprehend its meaning when we're so young. But it means that the first people who came to establish this country established it on freedom of religion. And the freedom that they should come, and anyone is free to come to this country to practice their religion without any persecution. And that's a very important concept to understand, and it's still upheld today in our Constitution. Second, the second point that I briefly would like to make is the majority, even through the democratic process of voting, cannot vote to get rid of the constitutional rights of a minority. If this was true, then Catholic churches would have never been built in this country, and neither would have Jewish synagogues. Just to give you historical examples, Catholic churches faced opposition, extreme opposition, during the 1920s. Catholic churches faced extreme opposition in the form of political agendas. And to give you some of the remarks that were made during such oppositions, because similar ones were made in the Planning Commission meeting and will probably be made here today. The rhetoric against Catholics was that they're a national threat, that they were called bomb-throwing lunatics, and they were called monarchists that would never assimilate because of their religious structure. Similar rhetoric is used today against a different group of people, and I don't really need to tell you who. Finally, the third point that I want to make is the opposition that you heard during the Planning Commission and the opposition that you're surely to hear today is not new. It's actually been used before to oppose 5 other places of worship for Muslims in Minnesota within the last 2 years. It's also been used all over the United States. It's very clear because it comes from a manifesto of how to oppose your Islamic institution in your neighborhood. This particular strategy is very simple. It's 3-tiered, and I'll give you all 3 tiers today because you're sure to hear them today, just like as they were said in the Planning Commission. The first tier is smear Islam and Muslims by portraying Muslims and Islam as violent or incompatible with American values. We've heard this at the Planning Commission, and we're going to hear this again today. The second strategy is to question mosque practices by questioning their funding, material, and/or teaching practices. Again, we've heard this strategy in the Planning Commission meeting, and we are sure to hear it today. And the third tier of this strategy is the not in my backyard tactic. And the not in my backyard tactic is very simple. You say that it should be built somewhere else because of zoning issues, parking, traffic, or taxes. And again, all of these will be used again today, as they have been used before. Council members, we should not let hate or prejudice defragment our society. Today, I ask you to ignore the voices of bigotry and hate and let them ring hollow. And I urge you to enforce our great Constitution and allow equality, and tolerance to ring true by permitting this permit. Thank you.